Okay, this is day 62 of being housed. Today is, Thursday, October the 16th. And I just want to talk a little bit about abuse. And it's really cold. It's about 5:30 in the morning right now. It's pretty cold. I'm going to show you this crescent moon, though. One moment. Oh, goodness. I think the light for the street might blind or block it. But let's see if we can jump right in. There we go. It's beautiful. This is actually one of the most beautiful things about being up early and, going for walks first thing in the morning. First and foremost, it's everything around you is very, it's like a perfect juxtaposition to your thought process. Like during the day, you got like the rush hour traffic, or you go through, increments of traffic, building up to the rush hour traffic, and then, then the stoplights, and then the cars, they kind of align and they back up, doop, 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 and all this fun stuff. And then in the morning, you see one car here, maybe a car there. Most of the side roads, all the cars are parked, and you don't see like that log jam at the street lights. And I think of like our thoughts, like throughout the day. In the morning, our thoughts are just so clear. It's the perfect time to read the Holy Scriptures. It's the perfect time. Oh goodness, I desire to have my wife to be on the same schedule as me, and just to walk and talk with her, and just to see how she's doing, and oh goodness, just to pour out the contents of our hearts plural, and just enjoy the moments and truly chew on the value found in each moment, and to appreciate them, and how you can contrast this to, oh goodness, the day I when I lived in the big city, there were certain times you didn't want to go in certain areas because of the rush hour traffic. And if you did, well, you're going to be in bumper to bumper traffic. And I find, like, say when I was working in the corporate world, and you're just getting your bearings, and just getting used to like a new atmosphere, just how there's always so many issues, especially when you're working with people, and there's different things. Everybody's got different motives, and there's different folks that are jealous of other folks, different folks that have unforgiveness and they're passive aggressive towards other folks. There's different folks that are, they're very egocentric, so they kind of look down their nose at some people with disrespect, and then look up. I don't know if they look up their nose, but they look up past their brow. maybe that's an expression, at other people. So they, some people are superior and some people are inferior to them. Then other people, they might have prejudices. Other people, they might, have issues against against a gender. Or the opposite gender. Other people, they might, be ethnocentric. So they're very, very, my nationality first over everybody else's nationality. All these different things. So they're all playing out around you all the time. All these red lights, green lights, red lights, green lights, and just vehicles that are and thoughts that are going down side streets that they are not meant to go down. There's nothing there for them. They are either looking for a detour, or they just got off like the main road. And so it's very indicative of like our thoughts during the day, and how it can be easy just to get into like the work world, and all of a sudden you're juggling this ball, that ball, then they just added 4 more balls, and you're juggling all these different balls. And that's where I find having a trusty pen, your favorite pen, your favorite stationery pen, your favorite piece of stationery, and then a pad of paper, and then just keeping everything written down. I have an appointment here, I have a meeting here, ensure you bring this to meeting. I have a meeting here, ensure this is complete, and you're able to talk, from an expert level on this. I have an appointment here, this is what they're expecting, and this is like the goal that they're looking for. Are we able to meet them at this, or do I need to bring forth like a compromise? I have this is due next Friday, but I want to make sure that I submit it in advance, so I build a reputation of being somebody who's dependable. The more you're just organized, the better off you're going to be. Anyways, not that this is a segue into the other. But what I really want to talk about, and I'm going to be very happy when these things are done, and I move forward from them, but is the impact of abuse. Let's circle back to that. It is tiring, it is cumbersome, it is not something I like to do, but it's very similar to lifting weights. You force yourself to do it, you stay disciplined to do it because you understand that it's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you weaker at first, but stronger in the long run. And it's something that you've identified as it's positive to your life and to your growth, and it's essential. And the stronger you get, say if you're getting bullied, and it's terrible being bullied. I think everybody's got a story of where they were bullied, but you'll realize once you start getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then the bully sees that you're bigger than them, that bully will stop picking on you. There's going to be another level of bullying, but at least that current level is stopped. And so anyway, so I just want to talk about, so yesterday was the day with the broom, and oh goodness, it was the words weren't loud, and there wasn't a bunch of curse words, but the tone and the hate behind the eyes was just as caustic and just as bitter as in the past, like with other we're saying accusations or other confrontations, etc. It wears you down. I talked a lot about that yesterday, but it also it creates an element of control. It's like it's like an animal peeing. I'm just looking at a tree there, like an animal peeing on that tree. What they're doing is they're providing a visual, and virtually they're revealing, like, this is my territory, and I want you to stay away from this territory. You're unwelcomed here. And so I talked a lot. I was very transparent about, since I've been there, since the first attack or the first accostation or being accosted, I felt like I'm in hostile territory. It's a very, very, very terrible feeling to have. And as I mentioned before too, like, I think these things need to be taken very, very seriously, and as much information derived from these things, because this doesn't just happen in homes, and it can happen with, say if I was a teenager, what advice would you give for a teenager? A teenager who wants to get out of not just these situations, but the cycle of these situations, the cycle of this behavior. But if this is what's being modeled to a teenager, what could you really expect? Like, how could you honestly expect them to be able to see past this? Or is this something that would have to be taught, or, taught experientially or modeled to them? But then also too, what about a corporate atmosphere? And like, I think of like all the different workplace policies that we have, and the human resources, their code of conduct, and then we have all these different mission statements, and et cetera. What does this look like in the corporate atmosphere? Why are these things not brought up so much? I notice in the corporate atmosphere, when you get a personality like this coming in, I've seen really wonderful workers just all of a sudden, like, they see this, they see the direction it's going, and they see how caustic or how toxic it is, and then what they do is they apply for a job transfer, and they're easily and joyfully accepted into another department, because they have such a wonderful reputation, because they're really good and knowledgeable workers. But that leaves everybody else in that atmosphere subject to that toxic personality. And I found, like, I love just talking with people to get like their insight, to see like when somebody's blind to something like this, to kind of gain an understanding as to why they're blind. And I found like or blinded to it, improper labeling seems to be one of the main reasons. So I found like I remember talking with somebody who used to really get aggressive over me, and I didn't like to share anything with them, because the moment anything was shared with them, it's like they took it as their own personal objective to make me better, to make me more like them, to work out. They would tell me, I just think you're what's the word? And this person, their profession, they always called themselves a lawyer, but they weren't they didn't actually go through law school, and they didn't pass. Was it the LSAT, I think it is, but they didn't pass the bar, but they worked in law. So I think that was like a little bit of a fabrication. And I remember when I found that out, I remember thinking, you could have just been honest. Like I think your job title, your job role is, like, it's wonderful regardless. Like, I don't know why you'd have to, like, it's almost like you're trying to impress people, and that would reveal an insecurity that you have. And that's not good. That's like a hole in the bottom of a boat. But anyways, but I remember the phrase that this person used. They said, this is the expression we have when we get asked to do something. We call it a dog chasing a ball. He's like, we're aggressive, we're focused on the ball, and we don't stop until we get the ball. I find you're not like that. And I was thinking in my mind, you're extremely caustic to me. You're controlling, you're manipulative, and you're dominating, and you're also suffocating, and you're very egocentric. Like, when we speak, you always want to talk over me, and it's like when I bring something up, you have the presupposition that I'm already wrong, and you're pounce on things. But there's been multiple times where it's been proven that I wasn't wrong, but you're unwilling to acknowledge that because you're so stringent to your like what you currently believe. It could be intellectually centric, and that you're unwilling to see anything outside of it. Yet you're at the same time, you also seem emotionally fragile, and you're open up and you talk about different times when people have taken advantage of you. Perhaps that's the correlation. This is your defense mechanism, and you virtually become everything that you said you didn't like, and you're doing to others everything you said you didn't like being done to you. So you, of all people, should know better than to not do these things, but you seem blinded to it. And I remember talking with the individual, and I remember they looked at me and they said, I'm a type A personality. Us type A personalities, we get the job done. And I was thinking, oh, there it is. That's what makes you blinded to this. You've created this word, type A personality. You've adopted that, you've taken it in, and it works for you because it allows you to remain the exact same way you always are. You don't have to change if you're able to put a label over it. That's not a type A personality. That's somebody who is obsessive, and that's somebody who's egocentric. Like you're very dominating. You don't have the right to usurp other people. Even if you know better in a certain situation, that doesn't give you the right to command other people to do what you've done. You should be happy that you have found the truth, and you should walk joyfully hand in hand with the truth. But the moment you start to feel you're better, or superior is a better word, than others, is the moment you can look down at certain people and try to dominate them. Manipulation, control, and domination. And it is insufferable to be around personalities like that. I cannot say that enough. And I find personalities like that, they seldom have people that will actually tell them, because people usually just shrink away from them and then just cut them off. So that being said, that's what I've noted here with the owner's mother. And with this, it's like a formation of abuse, and you can see how it's like you become more isolated. You become more like you realize too, all the different lies that came in at the beginning. When I first moved in there, it was, oh no, we're going to do everything we can to help you. Here's anything you need, please help yourself, this and that. That lasted for a week. And then all of a sudden the words were, go get your own food, go get your own stuff. That's really hurtful things to say. And that's a really harsh accusation. But also for somebody who's like vulnerable and they're struggling, to take advantage of somebody who's vulnerable or struggling really reveals that you're very weak inside, and you have almost nothing to your character. Like it's a very, I cannot express this enough, that it is one of the most defaming things. Somebody who takes advantage of somebody who's weak or somebody who's helpless is actually somebody that reveals the one who's truly is weak and helpless. And so anyways, so yeah, this is like right now, like yesterday, I'm gonna get my own cups. So when I go in, I've got my own water. I've got my own water boiler up in the room. I'm gonna make a tea, and I just want to limit the amount of teas that I'm buying. coffee shops, and just to be a little more responsible. But I've been feeling very, very uncomfortable when I'm there, like doing anything, and which is fine. Like that's all I desired, was just a safe room where I could get quality sleep, and I could continue with the writing, and continue with the job search, and just get my life in order. And so that's been wonderful. So the main problem I have with all this is simply just the lies. It's the false expectations. When somebody says, oh no, this is what we're going to provide and we'd love to help, and then all of a sudden it's forcefully taken away, but you're treated as if you're the problem. You're treated as if like you're putting them out. And then also too, with the owner's mother, I noticed now it's like she's treating me like she's like all this manipulation has made things very, very uncomfortable. I'm going to do another video so this one doesn't go too long, but one moment.